are my audience members. Did you know that Germany's government works hard to protect its country's wildlife? There are 97 nature reserves in Germany, most of which is the Black Forest. Germany also has a population of roughly 83 million people. Although that may be less than the population that we have here in the United States, it is still a considerable amount considering Germany is almost an entire century younger than the United States when you go back to the unification of 1871. Germany has many unique characteristics and occurrences. Let's start from the beginning and discuss a brief description of Germany's history. According to the timeline and history overview of Germany, many things occurred. During the Bronze, Iron, and Dark Ages, the first people to reside in Germany were known as the Celts. The Celts were gradually displaced by German tribes moving down from the north. As a nation-state, the country of Germany did not exist until 1871. Until then, it was made up of individual territories. Around the very first century, there were fights that went on between the Germans and the Romans. The Romans were the ones who came in and invaded Germany's territory. Much of the region was conquered by Julius Caesar and the Roman Empire wars. German Goth Odoacer became king of Italy, signaling an end to the Western Roman Empire in 476. The king of the Franks took control of much of Germany in 509. The Treaty of Verdun divided the Frankish Empire into 3 separate regions, which would later become the Kingdom of Germany in 843. Otto I was crowned King of Germany. The Holy Roman Empire was centered in Germany in 936. The Teutonic Knights were formed in 1190. Emperor II died, and Germany became a number of independent territories in 1250. The Teutonic Knights were defeated by the Polish in the battle at the Battle of Grunwald in 1410. The Gutenberg Bible was first printed in 1455. His printing changed the history of Europe. Martin Luther King published his 95 Thesis, which marks the beginning of the Protestant Reformation in 1517. The 30 Years' War began in 1618. The 30 Years' War came to an end with the Treaty of Westphalia and Treaty of Munster in 1648. Frederick I became King of Prussia in 1701. Frederick the Great became king. He expanded the German Empire and supported the sciences, arts, and industry in 1740. The 7 Years' War began. Germany allied with Britain against France, Austria, and Russia. Germany and Britain won in 1756. The French Empire under Napoleon conquered much of Germany in 1806. Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Leipzig in Germany in 1813. German philosopher Karl Marx published the Communist Manifesto, which would be the basis for communism in 1848. Otto von Bismarck was elected Prime Minister of Prussia in 1862. Germany defeated France in the Franco-Prussian War. The German states were unified and the National Parliament was established in 1871. The Triple Alliance was formed between Germany, Austria, and Italy in 1882. World War I began in 1914. Germany was part of the Central Powers with Austria and the Ottoman Empire. Germany invaded France and Russia. World War I ended, and Germany was defeated in 1918. The Treaty of Versailles was signed, forcing Germany to pay reparations and give up their territory in 1919. Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany in 1933. In 1939, World War II began when Germany invaded Poland. Germany was part of the Axis alliance, including Germany, Italy, and Japan. In 1940, Germany conquered much of Europe. Germany declared war against the United States after Pearl Harbor in 1941. In 1945, World War II in Europe ended when the German army surrendered to its allies. The Berlin blockade occurred in 1948. Germany was split into East and West Germany in 1949. In 1961, the Berlin Wall was built. East and West Germany both joined the United Nations in 1973. The Berlin Wall was then torn down in 1989. Germany was unified into a single country in 1990. The Berlin was then named the capital of the new unified country in 1991. As you can see, a lot has occurred before and after the unification of Germany. Now let's talk about the type of government and legal system Germany has. Germany is the leading economy in continental Europe and the second most densely populated country after Russia. It is a major member of Europe's political, defense, and economic organization. Germany is now known as a democratic federal parliamentary republic, and it has a constitution emphasizing the protection of its individual liberties. Let's talk about how the legal system works. In the executive branch of the government in Germany, the president is the head of the state. The holder of this position is elected to serve a single term and eligible for a second term that lasts 5 years. The presidential election is carried out by the Federal Convention that is made up of the members of the federal parliament and the members nominated by the state parliaments. The legislative branch of Germany is made up of the Federal Council and the Federal Diet. The 16 federal states are responsible for appointing the members of the Federal Council of 69 seats, while the Federal Diet has 631. The membership of the Federal Council is not determined through elections, but is determined by the composition of the state government and can change any time whenever one of the 16 states carries out an election. Most of the governments of post-war Germany have been made up of coalitions. The judicial branch, also known as the Federal Court of Justice, and the highest court in the country, it is composed of the court's president, vice president of the court, and other judges. They are structured into 25 senates. The Federal Constitutional Court is made up of 2 senates with each divided into 12 chambers, each having 8 members and its chairman. The Judges Election Committee is responsible with selecting the judges of the Federal Court of Justice, and they are composed of secretaries of justice from the 16 administrative states, and 16 members are appointed by the federal parliament, and other judges are appointed by the President of Germany. The judges serve until the age of 65 when they retire. Half of the judges of the Constitutional Court are elected by the House of Representatives, and the other half are elected by the Senate, and they serve until the age of 68. Germany also has subordinate courts that include the Federal Administrative Court, Federal Social Court, and Federal Finance Court. Each of the 16 states has their constitutional courts in a hierarchy and specialized courts. Although the German legal system is different from the American legal system, it is fair. When it comes to court procedures, according to How to Germany, court procedures are like a jury trial in the U.S. Under German law, the accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Professional judges serving in the various German states are trained legal experts and are normally employed as civil servants for the life by the lander. There are both ordinary and specialized courts in the German justice system. Notification for appeal must be submitted within 1 week after the oral announcement of the court's judgment. During the self-incrimination process, when authorities question a suspect, they must make it clear that any statement can and will be used against him or her, and they have the right to remain silent. During the gathering of evidence process, physical examinations can be made over the suspect's objection. The authority of German police is about the same as it is in other developed countries, If a party fails to appear in a German court, he or she will be properly served with a summons. Failure to appear in court, there may be a punishment. Drug offenses such as importation, sale, or possession of narcotics, including marijuana and hashish, are considered very serious crimes in Germany. German law has very strict requirements regarding the registration and possession of firearms and other weapons. Anything an individual sells, including a car, automatically carries a 6-month warranty under law unless it has been explicitly excluded. Under German marriage laws, a party can't file for divorce until he or she has been separated for 1 year or for 3 years if the divorce is contested. Annulments are very rare in Germany. The differences between German and American laws are obvious when it comes to contracts. In the U.S., for example, it is common and necessary to spell out everything in a contract. The rule in German law, on the other hand, is a short contract is a good contract. For example, the main issues in rental agreements and leases are codified in a law with landlord-tenant relations. There may be nothing in the lease dealing with notice periods, renovations required, or actions in the event of non-payment, but because of this law, it's still covered. An agreement to rent in a house or an apartment for a fixed term cannot be terminated early, except under extraordinary circumstances. It is a criminal offense in Germany to show disrespect for the colors, flag, coat of arms, or national anthem of the country, or any of its states. Under certain circumstances, accused parties who are not German may have their passports confiscated to keep them from leaving the country. The first phase of a German criminal prosecution is a pre-trial investigation to determine if there are grounds for a formal indictment. If a prosecutor determines that there is, the case is transferred to the appropriate German court, where the presiding judge decides if the evidence warrants a trial. Formal pleads of guilty and not guilty do not exist in German trials. An accused party can't plead guilty to receive a lesser sentence. It is wise to have a German defense counsel unless the case is very minor or the charges are undisputed. If the accused is convicted, the court usually will credit the entire period of pretrial confinement. For many crimes, a probation period of 2 to 5 years is often imposed on first offenders. Depending on the crime, of course, prison terms can range from 1 month to life, but they very seldomly exceed 15 years. Fines can be levied for violations of traffic, environmental, consumer protection, and unfair competition laws. Confinement begins immediately after the judgment of the court is announced at trial, unless an appeal is pending. In this case, the judgment doesn't become legally effective until and unless the appeal is denied or withdrawn. Although German laws protect the accused from being repeatedly prosecuted or subjected to double jeopardy, the prosecution as well as the defense may appeal a court judgment, and such an appeal by the prosecution is not considered double jeopardy. According to Hogan Willing, the main difference is that Germany has a civil law system, whereas the U.S. has a common law system. In contrast to common law, civil law is codified, meaning it has updated legal codes which cover all the matters that are capable of being brought to court, the applicable procedure, and the appropriate punishment for each offense. When it comes to religion and culture, Germany's religion is a very private matter. Nevertheless, most of the population identifies as religious, with Christianity being the traditional and dominant faith. According to the Cultural Atlas, Islam is the biggest non-Christian minority faith in Germany. This demographic has grown with migration from the Muslim majority, such as Turkey and Bosnia. Despite most Germans indicating that they follow a religious affliction, the number of those practicing is actually much lower. Germany was the birthplace of Martin Luther King. His movement was eventually led to a political divide between Roman Catholicism and protectionism. This was mediated by a traditional distribution of religious practice. This geographical division of faith is still visible in the religious afflictions of Germans today. The south and west of the country is generally Catholic. One can usually still determine the traditional faith of each German town and city by looking at the religious agriculture. On the other hand, most of the non-religious population live in East Germany. This is largely because the region was under communist occupation as the DDR from 1945 to 1990. During this era, belief or membership in a religious organization was incompatible with loyalty to the Communist Party. Overall, to this day, Germany holds the religion of Christianity. According to Gap Year, Germany's economical freedom score is 73.5, making its economy the 24th freest in the 2019 index. Its overall score has decreased by 0.7 point, which declines in monetary freedom and business freedom, outpacing an increase in government integrity. Germany is ranked 14th among 44 countries in the European region, and its overall score is above the regional and world averages. Business freedom and investment freedom remain strong overall in Germany. The combined value of exports and imports is equal to 86.9% of GDP. The average applied tariff rate is 2.0%. The well-functioning and modern financial sector offers a full range of services. Germany's inflation rate in February of 2019 went down to 1.5% from an estimate of 1.6%, and compared to January's 11-month low of 1.4%. Germany's unemployment rate lowered to 3.2% in January of 2019 from 3.3% in the previous month. This is the lowest unemployment rate since April of 1980. When it comes to currency, Germany uses the euro as its only currency, along with 23 other countries that use this common European money. 1 euro is comprised of 100 cents. You will not get away with trying to use any foreign currencies in shops or other businesses. For example, pounds or dollars are not accepted in Germany. The only exception to this is inside airports occasionally, in fast food restaurants, and major train stations. Germany typically exports machines, cars, vehicle parts, planes, helicopters, spacecraft, packaged medications, and other chemical products. Germany typically imports machinery, data processing equipment, agricultural products, foodstuffs, metals, vehicles, chemicals, oils and gas, electric equipment, and pharmaceuticals. The top 15 trading partners is the United States, France, China, Netherlands, United Kingdom, Italy, Austria, Poland, Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, Czech Republic, Sweden, Hungary, and Russia. I believe a successful business to start in Germany would be as a tour guide. The reason is the passion of living in Germany, wanting other people to love Germany just as much, and of course, making a living doing something you enjoy. I think it would be super interesting for visitors and people who don't know much about Germany in general to get the best tour possible. Although there are rules and requirements that you must follow before becoming a tour guide, if your tour requires walking, like most do, you will have to complete a course to become properly licensed. And of course, don't be a tour guide if you are not passionate about your job. I believe with opening a tour guide business in Germany, I would attract many visitors into visiting and possibly even moving to Germany, along with learning new and interesting things about the country itself. Overall, Germany has been through many conflicts and events that led to the development of the country. Germany is a big part of the European Union, and it holds significant power to this economy. Thank you.